It's Friday night, and what the fuck are you doing? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're sitting home dreaming about sweaty, built men in underwear. And who better to do it with than the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast? And here's your host, Iconoclast and Dick Taco.
Welcome to the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast. And here's your hosts, Iconoclast and Dick Taco.
Welcome to the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, great. We're back on that shit. Great.
Well, because we're talking about Russo this week because AEW...
Shitty booking all over, right?
No, well, I'm not thinking that, but I'm saying that AEW is taking something straight out of... Tony Khan is taking...
He's studying the Russo playbook for sure. The Russo playbook. I'm trying to think of any other band booker, but we'll get to that towards the end because...
Russo was the master of the work shoot, and not in a good way.
Yeah, but you say master like he knew what the fuck he was doing. If anything ever went right, it's an accident.
Would you say Booker T should be...
Booker T's mouth should be firmly on Russo's penis at all times because he's the only one that ever gave him a chance, and it was after everybody left. I never saw, but I mean, Booker T in '98, he had a best-of-7 match series with Benoit over the TV title, which was really good. And then Rick Martel got taken out of his coffin and put into this feud somehow. He was older. He only worked there for a little bit. And then they brought Tito Santana in as like a jobber, and I was like, great, what are they going to redo Strike Force? Christ, I hope not. But yeah, we'll get to the bad booking decisions shortly. But we got some other things to go over here first. Do you want to just get right into the news, I guess, right?
Yeah, let's just go down the format you saw.
All right. In the news. Wait. Okay, there it is.
No, let's start with the... Do you want to start with the AEW stuff besides the footage?
Yeah.
So, 410 Dynamite.
Well, what I had was there was a mini review of it, which I haven't watched Dynamite in forever. I did turn it on just for the footage we're going to talk about at the end with the Bucks and Wembley, which... There isn't one person on the planet that thought it was a good idea.
No, Tony and the Bucks did, I'm sure.
Well, apparently the Bucks are saying they didn't, but whatever. So, but there was, I turned it on and I was able to see Edge and Penta, which was a decent match. These matches go about 20 minutes. I mean, like minimum. So, I mean, I like
good matches, but here's the problem. And like, we are a week away from
a new pay-per-view that you should be trying to generate interest for.
Which has a good card so far, I think.
I think so, too. I don't agree with Danielson and Ospreay not being the main event, though, because that's what they said the other week. Danielson confirmed it. They're not going to go all
Yeah, I know, because the main event's going to be Samoa Joe versus Swerve.
Which he better fucking win.
Swerve.
Actually, you know what? While we're talking, I had it here to do a Dynasty preview, so bring the card up.
Okay, let me go on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, and I'll jump around here.
Now, I'm guessing the card is mostly set because it is next Saturday.
Well, you never know because they're always fucking throwing shit at the... Remember the 1 month I complained because how am I supposed to get invested from Saturday night when they were calling shit at the very end? I hope they get rid of some of these fucking shows they have, too.
They're doing one a month like WWE does.
No, I just mean I hope they get rid of some of these television shows they got every week. Like Rampage can go fuck itself, and
it's like WWF Heat or
Jacked or Metal or Main Event's still on, isn't it?
It's on Peacock.
Bet you it draws more people than Collision does. Do you see the other week they put Collision on at 11 o'clock because of
basketball?
It was WrestleMania was that night, and it was basketball too, the college basketball. But they put it on, and that's when they announced the thing with the footage at 1:15 in the morning with the footage they were going to show on Wednesday. And the thing is, too, it's the last show before you're going to show it. It's not like you said it's Saturday and Monday you got a show where you could elaborate. So you're either showing it or you're not now. Something happens, you can't back out. But, all right, you got the card up there?
Yeah, matches. Ospreay versus Danielson.
That's going to be a banger, as the kids say.
Yeah, one of the best matches possibly.
9-star banger.
One of the best matches of all time, quite possibly.
I don't think there's any possibility around it. He's going to make... Will Ospreay has... And it's good for him, but he has the penchant for making everybody in the ring look like shit because he's so fucking
He won't
good.
make Danielson look like shit. He didn't make Kenny look like shit.
No, he didn't. You're right. That's what. But some of the other guys he's been with, like
for those of you listening who read the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, this will be the greatest.
Gesundheit, by the way.
What?
Gesundheit, by the way.
No, it's a manga.
No, you said manga. I'm just fucking around. Go ahead.
Where there's a scene where it's the greatest sorcerer of all time versus the greatest sorcerer of today. Well, this is the greatest wrestler of all time versus the greatest wrestler of today.
You know what I find out though a lot about Ospreay and a lot of the mainstream, like. There's two different kinds of fans in wrestling. There's the mainstream fan, and then there's your people.
What do you mean your people?
The niche market.
Yeah.
You grew up watching the indies and stuff like that.
Yeah, the people who actually like good wrestling.
Yeah, but there's more than one part to it, and you're starting to see that with some of the other bullshit that's been going on this week.
Well, here's the thing wrestling is always at its best when it's in a warehouse in front of 200 people.
I agree.
And maybe people like the Bucks just weren't met to ever be on a big stage.
Well, they had to go make their own company because they weren't getting a sniff from WWE.
They were in TNA, though. They had a good run in TNA.
Yeah, that's not something you want to repeat out loud in public.
They had amazing matches with the Motor City Machine Guns. But anyway, the Young Bucks and versus FTR in a ladder match.
Yeah, that just became a thing
on Wednesday on
Wednesday.
Because they had the tournament, and this is the tournament final.
Who didn't know that they were going to be the two ending teams? If you looked at all the other dreck they had in there.
There was the Kingdom they had.
Oh, please. They're the Ring of Honor champions. That's like being the U.S. champions in 1991 in WCW.
What do you mean?
Off. Remember when you brought up Todd Champion the other week when you were talking about shitty wrestlers from the 90s? And I said, I remember him.
Who did I bring up?
Todd Champion was a name. And it was Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip. He's just like a fucking fireman. It was so gay. They were the last U.S. tag champions in WCW. Because I remember they fought, what was it, Halloween Havoc? Hold on, I got to check my memory. Halloween Havoc 91. They fought the Enforcers.
Who was the Enforcer?
Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko. A good fucking team. They were members of the Paulie Dangerously's Dangerous Alliance. So, all right, continue with the Dynasty.
Larry Zbyszko versus Bischoff.
That's why we bought that pay-per-view, believe it or not. Kevin and I could not wait to see Larry fight Bischoff, and he rope-a-doped him. He stood in the corner like Muhammad Ali against George Foreman and let Bischoff kick him and punch him because Bischoff was allowed to do martial arts because that's what he is. And then Bischoff ran out of gas, and Larry just starts walking out of the corner like this. And Scott Hall even comes in.
Did he knock some of his
No, Bret Hart knocked Scott Hall out because Bret Hart was the referee. That was his big debut that they sat on for fucking 2 months.
All right, Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe, the Rated Chicken Kings.
Wow. Not everything deserves an acronym-like name. Rated Chicken Kings sounds like a place where you can go see a porno movie and get chicken at the same time.
Versus the House of Black.
The House of Black.
What do you mean, the House of Black?
I actually like them, but they don't get shit. Like, they're only going to go so high on the card.
They're upper mid-carders. They're wrong being an upper mid-carder.
No. There's nothing, but I'm just saying, like, I like to see guys like...
You always need upper mid-carders.
Like when we talked about WrestleMania last week, I didn't agree with Sammy beating Gunther, but Gunther's going to have to go return into the world title picture now. He has to. That's the only place he can go. You can't send him lower. What are you going to do? Send him back to NXT to put people over? Further tarnishing a great legacy? No, of course not.
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels wouldn't do that.
Like Baron Corbin does now.
Please.
Like you do.
No, don't even... First of all, I could wrestle better than him.
I was watching old stuff where he covered like Roman Reigns in dog food.
No, please. Don't even remind me of that shit.
Time was Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa for the women's championship, which they barely built to at all.
Yeah, I know. Isn't Mariah May doing most of the talking I saw? They did something last night.
Yeah, I know.
Where she was talking to Thunder Rosa.
Kazuchika Okada versus Pac for the Continental Championship.
Continental Breakfast Championship? Everybody get free Danish and orange juice for everybody involved.
Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly for the International Championship.
Yeah, because the Undisputed Kingdom attacked him. So
what do you call them? Undisputed Flatulence?
Undisputed Flatulence attacked a poor homeless Kyle O'Reilly. Did he get shoes yet? Jesus Christ.
No, but that's going to be a great match, the two of them.
All these matches you're saying so far are good. And that's what I say about Tony. Tony picks good matches that you would have tuned in for.
The problem is he can't build to them for shit.
There is no build. Did you see? And like you watched the other night when I'm watching that Dynamite, they just look. Everybody involved looks uninterested. And Jericho, I didn't get a chance to say this last week because you chopped up the format like a salad shooter and took out all my funny stuff. Jericho, the only thing that was over with him was his song. Nobody could give a shit. And he's back there talking about, they keep putting him with these tag team partners and they either get hurt or he's already like having trouble with Hook.
He always gets put with the younger guys that he can sap off their hype.
Yeah, which is the exact opposite of what he should be doing. Like, people made fun of Punk when he came in because he wrestled that fucking midget John Silver. But that's the best match John Silver ever had.
John Silver.
As much as I hate him.
The Dark Order.
Was it John Silver? John Silver's the short one, right?
Yeah, John Silver and Alex Reynolds.
Stu Grayson looks like John Silver, but it's not him.
Stu Grayson's just bald, but he's like thinner. And John Silver's short and bulky.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was a good match with Punk. I found a documentary on YouTube called CM Punk, The Complete AEW Story. It's 2.5 hours from, like, first dance Rampage up until he gets fired. I'm up to when Hangman comes in and goes into business for himself with the promo. But,
which I still don't exactly understand what went on there. But
well, from what Ariel Helwani said, what he said to Ariel Helwani was, we discussed everything we were going to talk about in the back. You're going to say this, I'm going to say this, blah, 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 blah. He goes out there, he goes, and the way he described it was, he goes, Paige is telling me how he's got to protect the whole locker room from me and all this stuff and all this bullshit that he goes, I guess everybody was feeling back there, but nobody said to me. He goes, and as he's talking, I have to watch his mouth to see what he's saying because I can't hear him over the crowd. He goes, and my responses matter because everything I was going to say, I can't say now. So he goes, and I fought the chance to double leg him and just start beating him up because I was so pissed off. And I went backstage and I said, why did you do that? Television time is expensive. Why would you ruin it and do that? And Ariel said, what happened? He goes, he thinks I got one of his friends who isn't fired as Cole Cabana. Did you hear what Jim Cornette said about that? Jim Cornette had the best review of the podcast.
What did Jim say?
Cole Cabana. He goes, the best years that he never had are gone. He goes, if they hired CM Punk and he said, I want Cole Cabana disemboweled in the middle of this ring at 5:00 tonight. He said, they should have done it. Fuck Cole Cabana. He was so mad. He goes, I am so fucking sick of hearing about that loser.
I'm sick about hearing about Punk.
Well, me too, but...
He sucks all the air out of the room.
Well, we have experience with that. So
no, but Jericho also apparently trademarked, I was seeing online, he trademarked the learning tree. Because that's what he's saying about Hook, that he's teaching Hook.
Yeah, what's he teaching him? How to, like, bulk up? Because, I mean, he'd be a master at that.
Why? Because
teach him how to get a nice set of... Teach him how to grow a nice set of tits? I mean, like...
like, Jericho can't wrestle.
But also with Hook, did you read the thing about he's going to try...
supposedly being a
free agency, yeah.
But yeah, he's like 20. He can go there and come back, I'm sure. And
oh, sure. I'm not saying anything about that. I mean, but I just thought it was interesting.
Maybe he can be like Nick Nemeth and just go everywhere. Which, I got to talk about him later on in the show, too, about Windy City Riot when we get to that.
Yeah, did he wrestle Riddle?
No, Zack Sabre Jr. did, and that's a whole other thing.
He lost, I heard, right?
No.
Riddle lost.
Yeah, but that's a whole other thing.
All right. Well, we can do the results of that.
That supposedly wasn't the plan.
All right. Sorry. Did you read all the matches? Was that
it? For Dynasty,
yeah,
and then the main event, Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana.
They have to give it to Swerve this time because if you don't, everybody's going to fucking lose interest. Aren't you going to lose interest?
I've already lost interest.
I mean, if you have them beat twice, it's not like they each won. Like Hangman and Swerve was good because they each won. I still don't know how I feel about drinking the blood. I mean,
it was good.
That was a good show. I enjoyed it anyway. But keeping with the AEW stuff, hold on here. All right, we talked about Dynamite.
Forbidden Door 3. We'll get back to Forbidden Door 3 is not at Arthur Ashe. It got moved to Long Island.
Elmont, New York, or something like that, right? Where did I put it?
Kenny Omega gets very candid about being a lousy EVP.
Yeah, it was a good interview. I actually listened to it, and it's going to be nice to hear Cornette actually agree with him and have to eat his words about him a little bit.
Doesn't want to be an EVP in 2024. Well, that's what I was saying to Mama Wayne about this. I think that he's totally like separate from the Bucks with all this CM
So do I.
Stuff.
And he said a lot of cool stuff where he was like, we shouldn't be EVPs in charge of anything as talent. And which is the same thing. Like, I didn't agree with, like, you know, they wanted they wanted like Bret Hart offered to be like a coach or an agent or something. They're like, well, we'd rather make you a manager on screen. And I'm like, yeah, you don't want to pick Bret Hart's brain about Backstage. Instead, they make guys like Cassidy an agent while he's still wrestling. I don't understand that at all. I don't see how you can.
God, you hate Orange Cassidy.
No, I don't. I told you I warmed up to him. I just, I think my dog Pockets is just funny. Like he's the AEW mascot. I think that's funny. But, yeah, but he had a lot of good stuff to say where, here's the guy who got the worst end of, the brawl out. He got bit, or whatever. Ace Steel bit him on the arm. And he's saying sometimes fights break out backstage. He goes, and that's the way it has to be. So, I mean, good for him. Here's the guy that came out on a losing end of that, and still.
Yeah, and the Bucks are crybaby bitches.
Oh, for Christ's sake. You're not going to be able to say that enough during this show tonight.
But also, like, here's the other thing, too, that I got to complain just about in general on that Dynamite. You got the.
Well, I turned it off after the Rated Chicken King shit when they were talking in the back. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to get a Hallmark or something and watch something.
We got that coming up. And you know what they spend? We spend like 20 minutes to half an hour with the Bucks and the Wembley footage. We got Will Ospreay taking shots at Triple H.
Yeah.
Which was kind of shitty. They just should have done. He could have just said that on Twitter. But
sure, he could have. I mean, you shouldn't be wasting TV time putting over the opposition.
But also, apparently,
it will backfire you at some point.
Well, apparently, Ospreay felt very offended by Triple H's comments about him.
Yeah, but Triple H, the big difference is the WWE doesn't go out and say shit on the air. Like he says it on Pat McAfee or some bullshit podcast, like Ariel Hawani or something like that. Not that he's bullshit, but I'm just saying, like, they don't waste airtime on their product.
AEW shouldn't either. They put over Punk for half an hour.
Remember I told you when I was a kid, they ignored everybody. You ignored everybody. I mean, the guys didn't have the trademark names. They could come up, like Ric Flair could come up from Crockett and be Ric Flair. But they didn't talk about him. He was the first one because of taking the belt with him. But
then there was, and then we got fucking Swim Trunk Shane Taylor with...
Yeah, what? They figured to get rid of the Dark Order? They can waste time with these assholes now?
Like, we got so many amazing wrestlers on this roster. You got, you signed Will Ospreay, Okada, and Mercedes Moné all in quick succession.
The first two I agree with. I've watched Mercedes moan, because that's what she makes me do when I see her. Because I have to get... Actually, since you're talking about it, I watched her doing a promo with Alex Marvez. Did you see that?
No.
Who the fuck is running the camera? It was making me ill. I encourage everybody to watch it. Zooming in and out. And everything she says now, she's nothing like when she was Sasha Banks. It's very over the top, over enunciated. Like, she's like George Takei. Hello, how are you? She's just very over the top. And I'm like, what the fuck? He better not have spent, that $10 million rumor.
There's no way he spent $10 million.
What do you mean there's no way? You really think about who we're talking about here.
Tony, who's got 2 working brain cells.
He's got money to burn. You know what? And it makes perfect sense. His father probably kicked him out of working with the soccer team and the football team because he was going to lose some money. So he said, to take you and your cocaine and Adderall habit. Here's a couple billion. Go over there and play with your dolls.
Yeah, since Tony only got a couple brain cells, and they're all dedicated to having a circle jerk with the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Because they're apparently the only 2 people Tony listens to.
Yeah, well, who didn't know that when we were talking about this shit the other day off the air?
Since apparently they were the only people that wanted to do this.
Yeah,
no one else in the locker room.
A lot of people in the locker room, which we got to stop talking about this until we get to your segment here. But a lot of the locker room was like, well, that's great. We could have used time putting somebody here over. But.
Exactly. But they had Shibata, Jericho, and Hook.
You know what Shibata should call his finishing move?
What?
Remember all the brain jokes? The Shibatomy instead of the lobotomy.
No, but Shibata and Hook are both good wrestlers.
Sure. Well, Shibata is. I don't see enough of Hook to say that. I liked his work. I liked his mic work, and I liked his work with Joe, but I did not agree with making Hook look like he could beat the living shit out of Joe in his first title defense. I think that is a mistake.
And then we got Jericho, who should never be on TV. Jericho shouldn't be anywhere near the company.
Jericho's the guy that should be back there, especially with some of the agents and shit are fucking younger than he is. Jerry Lynn and those guys.
Jerry Lynn.
And how about Chris Hero? He put on at least a Hondo. Wow.
What? Chris Hero got fat.
Oh, my God.
Chris Hero ate Claudio.
Yeah, he ate Aries, the other guy in Swiss. No, that was Swiss Bank Exchange. Never mind. That was Claudio and him. No, they had the Super Friends, too. That was him and Mikey Quackenbush.
He ate Mikey Quackenbush.
He looks like the wrestler that ate Chris Hero now.
Cassius Ono. Right?
That's what they say when he's coming to the buffet now. Oh, no.
No, but yeah, he's a producer. He's Dean Malenko is
the greatest wrestler you ever saw. I encourage you. I know you've seen him wrestle before, but
not enough.
Get him and his brother Joe when they were in All Japan in the late 80s, early 90s.
Dean Malenko?
Yeah, Dean and Joe Malenko. Their father was a wrestler. The great Boris Malenko.
Yeah, well, Malenko's got like Parkinson's or something where he had to retire. I thought.
Yeah, he was still kind of. Well, you know what? When he won #1 in the PWI in '97, they got a lot of shit for that.
Why? Because he was
small. But I don't see why that matters. But
I've seen him.
He had already been in the business 18 years in '97. So that's 1979 he started. So he was like, he started around like when Hogan and those guys did. But
when you die, I'm taking these vintage comic books.
Not if I leave them to somebody else. I told you I would leave them to you. Just don't piss me off. No belts of AEW designation defended at Battle of the Belts.
Please, I haven't watched Battle of the Belts since the first 4.
It's another thing Tony rips off from the past. Championship Wrestling from Florida used to do that.
No,
I have the first 2 on DVD.
But anyway, when they did we got this Dynamite, we're wasting time putting over a talent from another company, and we also.
It was your only draw at one point.
That's not true. He was not the only.
He was the biggest draw. All right, I won't say he's only draw. He was the biggest draw.
He was the biggest draw, but he was not the only draw.
All right, I corrected myself.
Like what you said about All Out, he was not the only person people went there to see.
In 2021?
No, at All In, he was not.
Oh, 20. No. I don't think he was.
At All Out, maybe.
That was one of the better matches of the night, though.
Yeah.
Him and Samoa.
Yeah.
Him and Samoa. The only ones I remember are him and Samoa Joe and FTR and the Bucks, because I think somewhere they're still wrestling because it was taking forever. But that was a great match. And I didn't care for the main event. I didn't care for MJF winning the Ring of Honor Worthless Tag Team titles by himself.
No, that wasn't. Adam Cole and MJF won them together there. It was at Wrestle Dream where he defended them by himself.
No, he defended them by himself. No, he didn't.
He won them.
They won them together. You're right. I'm sorry.
And at All
Wrestle
Out,
Dream was against the Righteous, right?
Yeah, Vincent and Dutch. What?
I love those.
And now we're in the faction with Lance Archer and Jake the Snake. What?
What's that? The Loser Squad?
Oh, well, I thought you liked Jake the Snake.
I did, but he was a wrestler. But he just reminds me of a guy who really fell hard.
I just remember
more than once.
I just remember he was cutting some promo. I remember seeing later. This was years ago. We're not gonna let you bust a nut in that ring.
I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm glad I missed that one.
Again, I just remember him at the Legends of
Wrestling. No, don't talk. Oh.
Legends of
the
Wrestling.
streak continues, unfortunately.
Of what, me talking about bad wrestling shows?
No, well, that's never going to stop. That'll stop when you're dead.
Legends of Wrestling, where he was drunk in the ring, and he
grabbed that woman's hands and put them on his boobies, which he had quite a set there. He should have been wearing a bikini top.
We're playing blackjack. You got 21. I got 22.
He was fucking wasted. I saw that in the early days of the internet, and I was like, he is fucking soused. He is done.
I remember speaking to him, I was listening to a thing about Sonny and Sabu, because Sabu claims that he slept. I told
you about her, him and Sonny.
That he slept with Sonny for cocaine.
Candido pimped her out to Jake for crack.
Yeah, but he apparently did the same to Sabu, and Sonny says she didn't sleep with Sabu, but that she admits to sleeping with Jake, but she didn't sleep with Sabu.
You know what? I have to believe her. If she's not gonna lie about who she slept with, I mean, she really.
But here's another
thing. She did porn too. I mean, she's pretty modest, or not very modest. Speaking
of bad wrestling, I was what?
No, speaking of bad wrestling, you said
we were I was watching with Mother Wayne. I was scrolling through television last night, and I or yesterday afternoon, and I forced her to watch part of what I saw on the Impact channel. It was a piece of real history.
It was a piece of something, all right.
The NWA TNA weekly pay-per-view number 2 from June of 2002. It was the only match she could sit through barely. They did the lingerie battle royal.
And she sat through that, Drek?
It was, she couldn't believe what she was seeing. It was to crown the first ever Miss TNA.
Unbelievable.
What?
Anytime I, think
it was a bunch of like women in pajamas, and they had to like get the pajamas off, and then they were in their underwear, and then it was Francine was in it.
Francine Fournier from ECW.
Yeah, franchise girl.
Yeah,
it was a bunch of the ECW women.
Yeah, because they all needed. That was right a year after they closed. So
it was a lot.
Anybody who didn't go to XPW probably wound up there.
Or maybe Medeja was there too.
Oh, she's big.
Remember Medeja, Scott
it was with Steiner, the black girl. She was big.
And then after that, there was a match with the Rainbow Express.
Who?
Letty Lodi.
Why are they Rainbow Express? Are they gay?
That was their whole thing. Don't you remember?
No, because I didn't watch this shit. Lily and Lodi were like...
Weren't they in WCW?
Yeah, weren't they in Raven's Flock, I think.
They were the West Hollywood Blondes.
That's a better name than the Rainbow Express.
Where they were gay, and Turner made...
Billy and Chuck should have been Rainbow Express.
And they took them off TV because Turner got complaints about them being homophobic, which was true. And then there was a thing where Bruce ended up becoming Miss TNA, one of the people in the Rainbow Express. Because there was a thing where...
Bruce who?
I forget his name.
Why am I even asking you this shit?
Because Lodi
I don't care. Why am I asking?
Because Lodi was injured, so Bruce took Lodi's place in the Rainbow Express. And so then Bruce became Miss TNA. This is all awful.
That's great. You can leave it there. That's enough.
No, and one last thing. They had America's Most Wanted came out.
Oh, a good tag team. James Storm and...
Back when he was the
Fat Cat Chris Harris.
This is before he was fat. He was actually in good shape in 2002.
I'd see him and Chris Hero do an eating contest. Like a cannoli eating contest at the Italian Fest or something.
No, it was James Storm when he was the Tennessee Cowboy, where...
He's from Tennessee? He is from Tennessee, isn't he?
I don't know, but they
wrestled
one of the original TNA tag teams, the Dups. Stand up and shut up with their sister Fluffed Up.
All right, I don't see any point of going.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right, keep it with all the... Did you see those 10 releases the other week with AEW?
Yeah, I thought
none of those people. I know, but none of those people have seen their own family in months. Like, why am I supposed to scare?
Stu Grayson, Jose the assistant.
Great, now they're one guy short for the ring crew. Stu Grayson's gone.
He was in Ring of... who else got released? The Boys, Dalton Castle's people.
Yeah, that was a big deal because apparently Tony... There's some discrepancies about why they really got let go.
Tony says they missed dates. Boys says that they did.
They put all their text messages up about how they were trying to get a different flight out of there. But what they failed to see is they didn't get the flight. They did miss the show. So, but Jose the assistant, I know you're very upset about this.
He's now Jose the unemployed.
He's on X, formerly known as Twitter, as Jose the unemployed.
Which makes sense. Well, it makes sense why they released him, because without Andrade, there's nothing for him to do.
Is he the same guy that was Matt Hardy's guy in TNA? What was that guy's name?
The lawn care guy?
Yeah.
No, that's Matt Hardy's father-in-law.
Senor,
I forget his name.
Senor Benjamin? No. Phil would know. Phil ate
I think it was Senor Benjamin.
But Phil ate that Matt Hardy shit.
No, because that was Rebel Hardy's father. That was his father.
Nice guy, yeah.
That was his father. That was his real-life father-in-law, Senor Benjamin.
Okay. And somebody, speaking of Benjamins, a guy who's been talking to AEW, Shelton Benjamin, since being released in WWE, debuted, today's the 14th we're recording on, it's a Sunday, so the 13th, he debuted yesterday for OPW in Australia, Oceania Pro Wrestling. Never heard of that one. But, all right, now, let's hit the miscellaneous news before we go to WWE. There's not much of it anyway.
Oh, you want to let's talk about Windy City Riot here. I want to talk about Riddle.
Wait. Don't talk about Windy City Riot until after we talk about the footage. We'll do that.
Why?
Because it goes right into the Perry shit.
Okay.
We'll do it quick. All right.
Now, should I? Let's have you try to guess these old wrestling.
All right. You want to do? We're going to do a little something like guess the program, right?
Yeah, like what Cornette did.
You got to give me the card. I have to be able to name the territory, not the town. Because if I get the town, I get extra points. But if I can
All
name
right,
the
this
territory,
one I have the exact year, and
you're not going to tell me it though. Do not tell me the year.
No, and I do have the venue it's in.
All right. Well, I'm just going to name the territory.
Okay.
Give me the card.
Rick McGraw versus Johnny Rods.
Okay, just by that alone, we are in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Steve Travis versus Charlie Fulton.
Charlie Fulton. Sounds familiar.
Swede Hansen versus Laurent Soitz.
Well, spell it.
Soucie.
No idea, but I know Sweet Hansen is. He was another.
Salvatore Balomo versus Baron Mikkel.
Baron Mikkel Cicluna.
Yeah. Golden Boy Adrian Adonis versus Tony Garea.
Tony Garea.
Special Delivery Jones versus Blackjack Mulligan. Tony Mr. USA Atlas versus Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Is that for a title?
No,
Okay.
it says return match.
Okay.
Tag Team Championship, special guest referee, Polish Power, Ivan Putski.
I dated a girl whose mother dated him back in the day.
Mr. Fuji and Mr. Saito versus the Strongbows, Jay and Jules. Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, Pedro Morales versus Cowboy Bob Orton. And the main event in a steel cage for the World Championship, Bob Backlund versus Jimmy Snuka.
We are in the Northeast Territory, the WWF. I'm going to say it's the WWF, so I got the territory right.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can go a little further. The venue. Wait, first I'm going to give you the year. I'm going to say it's 1982.
Jesus Christ. Can
And
you
it's
guess the month?
October?
June.
Damn it.
June 28th.
Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
I knew it. Was that a cage match with Backlund and Snuka?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the famous one. You got me a good one, though. That was the famous one where he dove off the top of the cage and missed. First time anybody had ever done it.
Okay.
All right, you got any more?
Yeah, just let me get it up here. This one I have a little less information about. I have the venue and the date.
All right, just give me the card.
All right.
If you think any titles are going to give it away, feel free to leave them out.
Oh, and I do have the location here. It's at the bottom. Okay. Okay, the way
How
this
many
is...
more you got? Just this one? Or you got
yeah,
more?
I just have this one. This one's a little
harder.
harder.
Do these every week, man. I wouldn't mind doing a couple of these every week.
Okay, Angelo Poffo versus Ivan Kamelkov. Mitsu Arakawa versus Johnny Case versus Bob Christie. Not Johnny Ace, Johnny Case.
Bob Christie. I think that's Paul Christie's brother.
The Mighty Igor versus Mitsu Arakawa.
Mitsu Arakawa, yeah. He's one of the guys he was a big guy in Stampede for years.
Bobo Brazil versus Crybaby Cannon.
I know Crybaby Cannon. Bobo Brazil was the WWF United States champion years ago.
Tag Team Championship match. Yukon Cholak and Wilbur Snyder versus the Fabulous Kangaroos.
Ooh, Roy Heffernan and Al Costello.
And
those guys to have merchandise. They used to give out boomerangs, all the kids.
And World Championship match, main event, Dick the Bruiser versus the champion Baron Von Ratchke with his manager Bobby Heenan handcuffed to the ring post.
I know where we are here.
Where?
I believe we are in Dick the Bruiser's Indianapolis territory. But that doesn't mean you're in Indianapolis. It could be you'd be in Indianapolis, you'd be in Chicago Amphitheater. Did I get Chicago?
We're in Illinois.
Okay.
I have the street.
No,
and I have the venue.
And it's Dick the Bruiser. This is in the 60s. Dick the Bruiser. 19.
I don't have the year on this.
Oh, really? Shit.
I have the day, June 18th, Friday, 8:30.
I'm going to say it's 1967. But you don't know. You gave me one with no year.
It's not on the card.
You got to get the year.
It's at Busch Stadium.
In Illinois?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a Busch Stadium. Is that the original baseball Busch Stadium? Not the one where the Cardinals played. But no, Bruiser had Indianapolis and they ran Chicago with AWA.
It says Championship Wrestling, WTTV, Channel 4, midnight Saturday. Advanced tickets at Ross and Baybach, Ross and Young, also Union Fed Savings and Loan.
No idea. That's where we used to go. Pop got me tickets to ECW from some sporting goods store in Absecon. And that's how we got it. Yeah, that's how we got tickets for it. $15. 18.
All right, so now
hold on. We got to do. Let's finish it. We got a couple things off of the. We're not doing Jack Perry till we get to that. This was a weird story I picked up because I didn't even know who this girl was, but I'm hearing from everybody that she's nuts. ECW alumni Angel Amoroso.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, accuses Paul Heyman and Mick Foley of sexual assault among others. Made a sign on YouTube on a channel years ago saying she was molested by 20 wrestlers through the 80s and 90s.
What do you mean made a sign on YouTube?
Like she put up she had a channel and just took a video of a sign she made. So, for clue right there, she's a little... But she said between the ages of 12 and 15, said Mick attacked her at an autograph signing, actually showed up at one of Mick's book signings in November of 2017 in Bethlehem, PA, protesting outside the place.
Why are we just hearing about this now?
I don't know, but I just happened to click on something.
I think it should be, like all allegations, it should be taken seriously.
Well, it wasn't, but it's like everybody she's accused, like she's got, I don't know enough about her to say anything, but I've heard that she's got mental problems. So Mick Foley also, he's trying to get back in the ring for one final match. He's lost weight. He's up to like 380 pounds. He dropped down to like 340, but he called it off. So,
well, yeah.
Yeah, let me talk to you. All right, in the WWE, over in the Fed, Seth Rollins to take hiatus. Who didn't see that coming? I mean, what else are they going to do with him now anyway? I mean, he lost the world title.
You know he's only 35?
He's young. Yeah.
Jeez.
A lot of articles have pointed to the fact that after the success of WrestleMania 40, Vince and Kevin Dunn had been holding the product back. But you agree with that, don't you?
Yeah, but Bruce Pritchard's still there.
Yeah, but I don't know. Vince has still got he owns less than 5% of WWE now, and he's selling the rest of it. Some people think like that fucking dipshit Meltzer thinks he's going to start his own federation. I'm like, are you kidding me? The man is going to be charged on federal trafficking. He's buying an island and he's staying there.
Who's going to go work for him besides Cena?
I don't know if you're not going to walk away from WWE is worth way more than Vince ever could have got it to with this merger. I mean, it's partly because of him, but still, I mean,
Baron Von Raschke.
You don't touch Vince with a fucking 10-foot pole. Baron Von Raschke was a good wrestler too. He managed the power.
I only know Dick the Bruiser from Starrcade 90.
Yeah. Bo Dallas and Sheamus returns incoming. Everybody keeps talking about Bo Dallas coming back because he just did the documentary.
He's going to be Uncle Howdy.
He did something at the end of it where he turned the lantern back on. So I wonder. And there was a Sheamus vignette on the 4-8 Raw. Jacob Fatu also walking around saying that he got signed.
He's going to join the Bloodline. I'm guessing. I know Tama Tonga joined on Friday.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here. Yeah, he joined the Bloodline. They threw out Jimmy Uso.
So he can go back and be with his brother.
Yeah, because neither one of them can stand on their own 2 feet in singles competition.
Well, their match at WrestleMania was terrible.
And Solo's naming himself the new tribal chief.
What?
Well, you could see that in the main event where he was yelling at Roman to cover him and stuff. And it's like...
Solo, don't look at his ass, Sokoa.
Yeah, Solo, don't look at his ass, the tribal chief now. Acknowledge that ass.
So that means Roman's going to come back and try to take back...
Roman will be back with the Usos. There'll be another bloodline, and The Rock will be caught in the middle. I told you, they're looking for Rock versus Roman. Too.
No, but...
Look how long it's going to be to get Roman cheered. How long has it been? 11 years?
10. At least 10. But what was it? I'm reading this stuff that apparently there's already plans in place for Cody and The Rock.
Oh, yeah. Well, he shook his hand and said he had to leave the other night.
But apparently The Rock wants it to main event WrestleMania 41.
All right.
Him and Cody.
That's fine with me. If they do it right. Because what did I always tell you that Roddy Piper said one time? He goes, you have to get from A to Z. But it's not how fast you get there. It's how you get there. Like Tony Khan, give a listen. I know I've been on your ass on Twitter. I know you read all this shit.
Yeah, because you got nothing better to do because he's definitely not spending time booking.
The Titantron is now out. No more Titantron.
What the fuck? How are you going to have wrestle without a Titantron?
Well, you don't think they're trying to get away from it because the word Titans in it. Vince owned Titan Sports. They're doing it to be able because they're fitting more people in.
Wait. That's why Titantrons are called Titantrons?
Yeah, in WCW, when they went to the square screen in 99, they called it the Turnertron because Turner owned it. But no, when they did the Cody, when the night after WrestleMania, they just have a wall and it's all video because they're selling out. They need the room. And I kind of like it, to be honest. I'm glad they got rid of the ramps and stuff and you have like a long walkway.
What AEW does.
That's right. That's why I like the AEW, too. I mean, I still do like AEW. Don't get me wrong, but they got some questionable decisions right now.
Yeah, but it's three people's fault.
Sure. And we will be talking about them in great detail shortly. Axum and Nathan Frazier defeat Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin.
You!
Shut up. For the NXT tag titles. Looks like Breakker is headed to the main roster anyway because of the farewell speech. But didn't he sign with SmackDown, I thought? Weeks ago, he signed with
I don't know.
SmackDown.
Whatever.
I think I had to do. You don't see Chad Gable's going to get his shot at Sami Zayn this Monday on.
That'd be a good match.
Yeah. It'll be this past Monday by the time we air this on the 4:15 Raw. Hold on, I'm still reading here.
I think this is going to go up on the 18th.
Yes, it will. What else do we have here? Okay, so now we are at a time. We've only done it once before, but we are about to go back to the skit that was very well received about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
How do you know it was well received?
I don't. I was just saying, well, I had a couple of comments that it was funny, and it was funny. People like the old Insomniac theme, too, from Dave Attell. But we're going to do again for you, Iconoclast Shitty Wrestling Corner.
Drunks and losers, squaws with lips, flows and hoes and one-eyed pits. Down the alleyway they creep. They're all your friends when you can't sleep. Come with me and you will see a late-night freak show. Jubilee, kick the Sandman in his sack. Stay up late, Insomniac.
It makes sense.
And we're back for another episode of Iconoclastic's Wrestling Corner. This week, as you saw from the tagline at the front, it's about all elite wrestling and some of the questionable booking decisions they made this week. And, just in general, but basically this week, going back to the footage of CM Punk, whose name they couldn't even fucking say on the show.
Yeah.
And he still got over. He still draws the most in that company. Did you see Forbes put that in as a result from Dynamite? CM Punk beats Jack Perry. I got a screenshot. We can put it up there. But
now,
I'm going to let my co-host here take it away because this guy has been an AEW fan from the beginning, and he did stick up for them in any which way he could.
Well, first,
but it's getting very hard.
I couldn't fucking believe this even happened.
Yeah, let's go back to that. Remember what I was just talking about earlier?
Like when you told me, because you were watching it first, because I was out someplace and coming home.
Yeah.
Because I was not watching it right
They
away.
didn't make you wait either, but like I said, the collision the Saturday before during WrestleMania, which somebody should have told Tony, don't do anything this week. They are too fucking hot over there. 3.2 million on Raw. Anything you look is going to look like, you're like, the prom date that got left at the door. I mean, you're not going to look like, serious here. But they announced it at like 1 o'clock in the morning because they moved Collision because of the basketball games. And I'm sure it had something to do with WrestleMania too. They probably figured it would be 2 nights, it would be over by then, but I think it was still going. So, but go ahead. I told you about it. You were out.
Okay, so you told me about that, and I could not believe it because I was sure that this was going to be some kind of troll, that they were just going to...
It couldn't be, though, because if they did, they'd be deader in the water than they already are with this shit.
No, I don't think that they would... I don't know, but...
It still wouldn't have been received well.
I just think that they would have... Like, I thought that it was going to be like footage of the Bucks and FTR backstage.
And all they got out of it, they popped 819,000 viewers. And that son of a bitch got on Twitter right after it because I was all over him. And I said, I can't believe you tweeted that. They ought to fucking sue you for infringing on their intellectual property because you used one of their guys to pop a rating, you cheap hooker of a booker. You prostituted the guy. He's not even on your payroll.
Mick Foley, winning the WWF title, that's going to put butts in seats.
Yeah, poor Shivani.
I know, because he's sitting there, afterwards? He's having flashbacks to Russo, because all of this is straight out of something that Russo would do, trying to do a work shoot.
You don't think he's working there as a consultant, do you?
No fucking way. No fucking way.
Imagine it. You could never show him on TV, ever. You could never. If you hired him as part of your wrestling promotion, you could never show him on TV. It's just like the whole thing Perry hasn't been back is because they were going to bring him back around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But then Punk showed up because you know how stupid you would look bringing him back? It's like on Dynamite, they ran Dustin Rhodes against Samoa Joe right after Cody won. I thought that was shitty too.
No, they didn't actually wrestle though.
Well, no, it never happened because Swerve beat up Joe.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, Swerve jumped him.
I'm all Team Swerve over here.
No, so I could not believe the footage was even shown. Now, the footage itself was, again, pretty much just what Punk said.
It's almost exactly what he said.
The footage itself is actually the least interesting part of this.
Yeah, and it was only about 56 seconds. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to show it because everybody that's putting it up is getting DMCA takedowns.
Yes.
From Jacksonville, Florida. From Aubrey Edwards under that fake name she uses for that Don Perkins or whatever the hell it is.
I mean, Tony and the Bucks are apparently the only people who thought this was a good idea.
But the Bucks, or somebody says that the Bucks said they didn't want to do it. I call bullshit. So do you.
I know exactly who that is. His name's Wade something. He runs a dirt sheet.
Wade Keller.
Yeah, Wade Keller.
Pro Wrestling. I forget what it is. I used to subscribe to them a long time ago.
Yeah, Wade Keller said that, and everybody on the internet immediately jumped all over him because it's known that he does not have any source in AEW. He said that, and then Fightful and everyone else came out and said the exact opposite.
Sean Sapp and his deep blue eyes. Makes me sick.
They came out and said the exact opposite. They have actual sources that the Bucks 100% wanted to do this. Wade Keller is just talking out of his ass. It goes right along with
their jerk-off personality. They have a company. They want to do whatever they want. It's not their money going into it.
No, it's Tony's, and Tony's okay with it.
But when they showed the footage, I quickly, right after, because I turned off. I mean, they got a viewer out of me even where I was watching a fucking live Dynamite.
And poor Chris Hero, where he was had his hand in his hands.
Oh, yeah, he's in it because he's working. He's at Gorilla working with Tony Khan. And really, Tony Khan has never been in a fight in his life. If that's why he was afraid, what? Because his ass bumped the table? Yeah, Malachi Black looked really scared walking away drinking his coffee. He looked
so confused. I
was like, who is that? I didn't recognize him with the makeup on. I was like, oh, that's Malachi Black. Holy shit.
Well, because he went to try to talk to Punk afterwards. And he went to try to talk to Punk. And again, you and I disagree on this, but I still think it was okay to fire Punk for that.
Yeah, but you got to admit, it was not really that big of a deal as far as fights go. I've been in fights more heated than that with patients at my office.
Really?
Yeah, I had people threaten to kill me. I never talked about the 79-year-old guy. He had a balance, and I was like, you can't. It was during COVID, so they would call at the door. And the guy's like, you telling me I can't come in? I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what I'm telling you. This is bullshit. I'm like, okay, that may be. You still can't come in. And he goes, I'm a fucking veteran. I'm like, thank you for your service. You still owe us $197.18. So then I just hang up on the guy. Some dumbass in the other department opens the fucking door for him. So now he's in there. I'm yelling at him behind plastic. He goes, you're calling me a liar. If you're calling me a liar, we can take this outside. I said, will you stop it? I said, will you stop it? There's no cameras on it. And for a split second, I'm thinking about going out and fighting this guy. Now, he's a Vietnam vet or something. He's probably Pop's age, right? Or older. He's older. And I'm like, you know what? Nothing good can come out of this. Because I'm either going to go outside and I'm going to beat the shit out of this 80-year-old man and look like a monster. Or this motherfucker has had special forces and he's going to have some flashback. Think of me as Charlie in the black pajamas and I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me by an 80-year-old man. So I just stood behind the plastic and talked tough. Eventually, I got him out of there.
This is like you being a debt collector for your
I did. Life. I had to go to court. I had to go to court for him, too, and he called me a puke and a punk. I was in my early 40s, but a long time since I've been called a puke. Not since I was a teenager. But anyway.
So I know, again, the fight itself was not that bad. I personally just think that it was reasonable to fire Punk because this is the second.
Well, yeah, the second time. He's probably on a short leash.
Yes. If this was the first time.
We're not working in an office here. This is wrestling. Shit happens, man.
I disagree with that. I don't think it's okay for there to be fights at all. This isn't the 90s or the 80s anymore where Scott Steiner's trying to sodomize people with pencils.
And everybody's all coked up in the back.
And Sabu's throwing around
bags of cats with an I Love Cats shirt on.
Yeah.
The Von Erich boys are sawing them in half. But did you see when Punk was talking to him?
Terry's high, getting his Walkman cord stuck in his boot.
Oh, yeah, he laced it into there. That's right. Fucking poor bastard. I started watching that movie last night until I fell asleep.
Okay, but anyway, as you were saying about Punk.
No, when he's talking to him, Jack Perry's fixing his fucking faggoty ass haircut. Sorry about that. But he's playing with his hair and he's going like this. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm sitting there dressing you down, you're going to keep playing with your hair and I'm fucking smacking you. Because I'm pissed off and you don't think, I'm sorry. He needs a haircut, first of all.
Yeah, he does.
I think he did get one.
Person.
I think he did get one from what I saw at Windy City Riot.
Yeah, he looks like a homeless person.
He always did.
No, but he looks more like a homeless person ever since he grew a beard.
Oh, yeah. The beard and homeless always get, well, you can't shave. You don't have a razor and what are you going to shave? With a knife and a broken piece of glass as a mirror? But
now, again, Punk doesn't actually punch him. He just grabs him, puts him in a chokehold. Which...
Well, yeah, it lasted about 2 seconds. Joe pulled him away.
Who else was back there? Joe?
Chris Hero ran out. You saw Tony Khan's hand. Samoa Joe's over in the corner. Hook was there.
Yeah, because Hook and Perry just...
Aubrey Edwards ran in. Rick Knox, worst fucking referee in the universe. That includes Jupiter. He'd be the worst referee.
Who's Jupiter?
No, on the planet Jupiter. He'd still be the worst ref. They don't have wrestling there.
No, he's not the worst referee. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan match. But there was a real referee in that match.
There really is no depth to your shitty wrestling. There really is.
That's a great match. Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan. Watch it.
No, go watch Monty Python and the Hollywood Bowl. Watch Colin Bumba Harris against himself. If you like stupid shit. That's right up DDT's alley and that crap you watch. All right, this is what I wrote. Well, here, I wrote it. The internal feeling at WWE. Now, I wrote this before they even released the footage. This is as of 4/9. They were asked about how they feel about it. They said airing the CM Punk Jack Perry fight footage is misguided and stupid.
It is. That's what everyone in AEW thinks too.
That's right.
Besides Punk and Tony. I mean, no. Besides the Bucks and Tony. Excuse me.
Now, what I had from the day after was it came out on 4/11 that it was Tony Khan's idea and the Bucks were against it.
That's what Wade Keller said. Which
I don't know if I got it from Wade Keller. I might have got it from somebody who did. I even wrote, not sure if I buy that. And Tony Khan hit everybody with a DMC takedown, which makes me either think he realized how dumb he was, or there's something to do with him not legally being able to show it.
Because on the YouTube channel, it's not even up there, too. They have the Bucks talking, and that's it.
Yeah, they had to take it
also,
down.
Their whole monologue beforehand is awful.
Well, they're an awful promo to begin with.
It's like this individual wanted to make the whole show all about himself.
Stephen P. New said that there's some kind of law in England where if you don't own the footage, that he thinks they may have got in trouble. Stephen P. New, 87750-STEVE.
God.
But, all right, here's what I wrote about it. The Bucks aired the footage of Wembley. They actually aired it. I'm writing it as they were talking. I was surprised, but they used it to program a program with FTR. They could have done that without airing the footage.
This is a Russo. They pulled a Russo.
Absolutely.
They're using a work shoot to do this. This is Bash at the Beach 2000, which is something that I still don't understand.
And you never will. I watched it when it happened. I don't get it. But they
what was the thing where
Good.
Hogan laid down for Sting? Or that wasn't at Bash at the Beach 2000, but...
Oh, I don't know. I remember Jarrett laying down for Hogan for that. That's all. But they put over WWE's top star on their program, and everything happened the way Punk said it did.
It was the finger poke of doom.
And
that's the thing that Tony Schiavone's sitting there thinking back to WCW.
He's having 30-year-old flashback.
I remember he showed up in TNA in a wine shirt.
The Bucks think they have heat. They don't. People just don't like them. Also, about the footage, I wrote, I can't believe they fired Punk for that. And I wrote, and shame on Bryan Danielson if he agreed with that decision.
Well, again, like I said, I think that I think his firing is reasonable. It's the second time this has happened.
I don't even know if I believe that shit. I believe he quit when he left because he said he never talked to Tony Khan again after that day when he left Wembley. He quit. And they had to get out of the contract without paying him, and they said they fired him for cause. I don't believe any of the shit that there was a committee. This was his fucking lawyers talking to him. That's it. I don't believe it. But this was WCW putting over Mick Foley's title win. And then I wrote Ospreay came out with veiled insults at Triple H about the grind, which apparently that really upset him. But he said the only reason Triple H got to the top was grinding the boss's daughter. That may be true. I never thought much of his in-ring work. But these guys, they cannot fight WWE on even footing.
They need to focus on their own product.
They need to work on their own product. Yeah.
In this company that are ruining it. Tony Khan and the Bucks. What needs to happen is Tony Khan needs to divest all creative control. You know, he can still have the money, obviously, run the business end of it.
It's Scott D'Amore. I keep saying it, or at least explore it.
I don't know.
But I also wrote to end it. Also, Tony Khan is a pussy. If Punk backing into a table made him fear for his life,
And
he should never be seen on TV ever again.
the Bucks need to leave the company entirely as in-ring talent and as behind-the-scenes people. They are just too much baggage.
You know who's going to benefit from this the most, right?
Who?
Drew fucking McIntyre. He's going to get such material with
Apparently
this.
he hasn't.
And he's doing great since Punk got back. They let him fucking go from the T-shirt on down.
Apparently he hasn't signed a new contract yet.
Oh, I don't care if this is on his way out the door. He's still doing great.
Imagine if he ends up in AEW.
Belongs there. Now he doesn't. He doesn't wrestle that good.
He goes to TNA.
All right, now we saved Windy City Riot for the last because get the card up if you don't mind.
For Windy City Riot.
Yeah, I'll talk about because
They actually just had another show.
all I watched
today.
was the Perry thing, and
They
I
actually
showed
had another show today. And
I showed it to your cousin too.
they did a show in Taipei.
Oh, Taipei death matches all around.
I wish. No. No, the main thing was they crowned new never open weight 6-man champions.
They certainly got a play. They certainly got a lot of champions on a belt that says never on it.
It's the new 6-man champions are Tanahashi, Toru Yano, and Bolton Oleg.
Bolton Ole, Russian?
He's from Kazakhstan.
Close enough.
Now, okay, here are the results of it. This was, I don't know what the time zones, what day this actually was.
Well, it was in Chicago. It was here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. This was April 12th.
It was at the Wintrust Arena. Sellout, by the way.
All right. The first match of Matt Vandergriff versus Zane J.
Okay.
Viva Vaughn and Mira Shirakawa versus Trisha Dora and Alex Windsor.
No idea. Keep going.
Minoru Suzuki versus Ren Narita. Ren Narita
I heard that
wins.
was a good match, actually.
What?
I heard that was a very hard-hitting match.
Well, Ren Narita...
You got the potato farmer in there, Suzuki.
Well, apparently Narita they're building up as the next Masachiro Chono.
Oh, boy.
As the big heel.
Those are some big shoes to fill.
Second match. NJPW Strong Women's title. Stephanie Vakir defends the title against AZM and wins.
No idea.
Third match. Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship. Open 4-way match. El Phantasmo and Hikuleo versus Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, who ended up winning, versus Joel Nelson and Royce Isaacs versus Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler.
There is talk about Hikuleo maybe joining his brother at some point in WWE, too.
Oh.
And I saw how to spell his name finally because you said I spelled it wrong on the
We got Fred Rosser, the former Darren Young.
Yeah. One of the first, Chris Canyon, he's one of the first gay athletes I remember of the last 20 years or something.
Yeah, but Chris Canyon was in the closet.
Yeah, part of it suicide, I think, too.
Next match, Shota Umino defeated Jack Perry with a Death Rider.
Now, I have to talk about this. This is the only reason I had you bring this card up. This is all I watched. Whatever they did with the footage, and the whole world pissing all over it, well, Jack Perry comes out with his House of Torture, which is aptly named because the only thing torturous is watching him wrestle.
They got Dick Togo, they got Evil, they got a bunch of people.
Yeah, they should give him another name too, like No Talent. But he comes out, and I don't know if a lot of it was boos or cheers, but the sound was deafening.
And that's good.
But then he whips out a Chicago flag that looks like Punk's tights with the stars and the stripes, boos the shit out of him, puts it over his back, turns around, drops it, says, "Cry me a river." Chants, and then they start chanting CM Punk. And then he walks through it. Oh, by the way, he's accompanied by, Riot Patrol. 6 or 8 cops with riot gear on its shields.
It's like
nice
Goldberg.
touch. He comes out, stands on the turnbuckle, and in the match, he starts doing Punk's moves. Throws him in the corner. Well executes it, by the way. Does the knee and the bulldog thing. But then he does his hands, the dude go to sleep. And holy shit, the disgust in that crowd was so... The signs were great. You're not a scapegoat, you just suck. I told you the one where the guy drew a stick figure and said, "This is Jack Perry. See, neither one of us can draw." That's my favorite sign I've ever seen.
Well, because you were saying that, that maybe we need to eat our words on this. They might have something here.
We might have to. We have to see how he's portrayed because I still think there's a chance. And Lance Storm said it on Wrestling Observer Radio with Alvarez the other day. He goes, make Perry a babyface. Have him fuck the work. What do you mean it won't work? Nobody's expected it. And he was suspended by the office and kept it away. The Bucks are mainly the office. They're standing on the EVP title. It would
People
work.
won't accept him as a face. It'll be like Reigns in 2014.
You'd have to do it in small doses. Like you do it, and like the next week on TV, the Bucks are looking for him, right? But you don't see him. You can't put him out every week. Jack Perry could be an attraction, like a 160-pound attraction. But
So he does have to bulk up some more.
yeah, if he goes back and works out for 6 months, he can come back as a tag rope, which they don't even use anymore. I realized.
Oh, what's a tag rope?
It was the rope around the corner, so you had to hold on to it. You could like reach through the ropes to get to your partner, but you had to hold on to it. But you were still touching the corner. But keep going with the results. That I had to talk about that.
Mustafa Ali defeated Hiromu Takahashi with a 450 splash.
Ooh.
Mustafa Ali, who's currently
There's another
in
thing
TNA.
on this card that upset me no end, but I think
What?
you're getting to it. Keep going.
Six match, Riot Rules match, no DQ tornado tag. Eddie Kingston, Homicide, TJP, and Jeff Cobb versus loss to Gabriel Kidd, David Finley, Kenta, and Clark Connors.
Ooh. Jack
Seventh
Perry
match
got his picture with Kenta at the end. That's another.
was the fuck CM Punk thing.
Yeah, well, because Kenta always says Punk stole his move.
Yeah. Seventh match, Matt Riddle loses to Zack Sabre Jr. And Sabre is the new television champion. Now,
And I heard Riddle got the hell out of the ring in a hurry too.
Well, apparently there was a lot of issues between Riddle and New Japan. This might have been his last appearance. Supposedly he was high in the ring during the match.
I was going to say that, was he?
There's also issues that I was reading that he defended the belt on an independent show.
And he wasn't given authorization to?
Yes.
I've heard of the reverse of that, where Stanley Blackburn told Stan Hansen to drop the AWA title. He said, no, I already got dates in All Japan for Baba. So he left, took the belt with him, defended it on a tour. Meanwhile, they crowned a new champion over here. Then he got sued to take the belt back, so he ran the belt over with his truck in his driveway and mailed it back to Tire Prince and all.
Eighth match, Nick Nemeth defeated Tomohiro Ishii with the Danger Zone.
Ishii!
With the Danger Zone. I think that's the new name for the Zigzag.
Yeah, he hit that guy with that blood sport out of fucking nowhere.
Ninth match, Jon Moxley defeated Tetsuya Naito with a Death Rider to become the new IWGP World Champion and the first ever wrestler to win the Global Modern Triple Crown. He was a former WWE, AEW, and IWGP World Champion, cementing his place as one of the greatest of all time.
You know, if we weren't related, I would come across this room at you, and it would look like the scene in Mommy Dearest where she's choking her daughter on the floor.
Why do you hate him so much?
Why do you like him so much?
Because he's great.
He is not. He sucks.
He's like Stan
You didn't
Hansen.
think I was funny when I sent that to you yesterday? It was a plumber's crest. I said, this is going to be his
Why do you
sideboard.
always think he looks like a plumber?
Because he does.
He's gotten in way better shape in the last couple of years.
He just looks like a bald guy come to fix underneath your sink.
He could beat the shit
you
out
see-
of you.
Okay.
He's got moves. He knows more moves than Punk does.
Oh, get out of
He's
here.
good on the mic.
You act like he's a guy. You turn him into fucking Carl Gotch every time you talk about him.
He's AEW's ace.
Oh, well, that's nothing to be. Okay, he's the ace. He's like the nicest guy in prison. He's the captain of the Titanic.
He's a great wrestler.
No, he's not.
Cow mutilation. The Bulldog. Death Rider. Paradigm Shift.
Stabs a guy in the head with a fork, had skewers sticking out of his head. Made a big deal about suplexing a guy on the fucking kids. Idolizes Nick Gage. His whole career at AEW has been him cosplaying that fucking scumbag from National Park.
Who's that?
Nick Gage, he's from National Park. I can tell you that. Kevin grew up the town over from there. And I said, you know he's from National Park. He goes, you're kidding! Because he looks like every scumbag that came from there.
Well, Nick Gage wrestled in AEW once.
Yeah, I know. That's
He
what I'm
fought
talking about.
Jericho.
Yeah, they lost their Domino's Pizza endorsement after that because he sliced them open. He sliced them open with the fucking thing, and then they went right to a Domino's commercial. So not only is Tony an idiot, the guy running the truck is an idiot too.
Again,
Now I'm pissed,
you
goddamn it! I hope
cannot
you're happy.
deny Moxley's
I can deny anything.
accomplishments, his longevity, his ability to bet on himself like Cody has.
Bet on himself.
He takes risks with himself. He left WWE. He went to Japan. He went to AEW.
And I don't understand why these people keep booking him.
Because he's good. People like him.
People do like garbage wrestling, though. So
He's not a garbage wrestler.
He is exactly the definition of a garbage wrestler. And you love garbage. You love shitty wrestling. So who's listening to you? You went on a rant for 10 minutes about TNA from 2002. There's a reason it's dead and buried.
TNA's still around, barely. It's on life support.
It's been on life support for a long time. They weren't even they were drawing like 100,000 people on Destination America at one point. But that's because nobody got that fucking channel. I happen to look. I'm like, do I have that? Let me. I don't fucking care. It's like, but I think that'll do it for this week.
No, well, I mean, it's just that. Why do you hate Moxley so much?
Like I said, why do you like him?
Because he's a great wrestler.
I just don't think. Like I listened to their interview with his wife. Renee Moxley Good. She's so intelligent sounding. How she sits across. How she procreated with this fucking miscreant.
Moxley's a very intelligent, well-spoken, well-written man in real life.
What? Did you ever hear the interview? Look it up. It had nothing like this, man. I suplexed the guy on a bunch of tin cans.
Because he's playing a role.
It was dope. But I'm like, you have to sit across.
Have you read his book?
She has to sit. Yeah, I did actually. It wasn't bad, some of it. She has to sit across to have the table at morning coffee with this guy. She has to spoon with this guy at night. Hey, baby, you want to bleed tonight? It's awful. See, now you got me upset. I can't take it anymore. Is that it? Are we done with this shit?
I do want to say one more thing about New Japan. Him winning the title on the New Japan PW, the NJPW subreddit. People on that subreddit are so pissy.
Yeah.
Because
now, well, you know why people on the subreddit NJPW that are real NJPW fans hate Tony Khan because he's ripping them apart. And now they got their world title belts going to be on there with the rest of these other belts. It's like a fucking jewelry store over there.
Well, that's the thing in NJPW is that their two primary belts, the world title and the international title, are on foreign wrestlers who aren't even signed to the company.
What do you mean the international title?
Or the global title, whatever it is. The one that Nick Nemeth has.
Oh, okay.
Because he's not signed anywhere.
I know. And he did an interview with Busted Open, or with, was it Wrestling Observer? Or it was Busted Open. He talks about why he didn't go to AEW with his brother.
What'd he say?
No, I didn't watch it. I'm going to have to watch it.
Just think, he slept with Sonny after she got fat.
Apparently, he could go for like 9 hours. He's like Sting. Not the wrestler, the singer. Are we done with this shit? You've upset me very much this week.
Why? Because I talked about Moxley and how great he is?
Yes, you did. Just call it, will you?
He knows more moves than Punk does. Sorry, Mother Wayne's arrived. Sign off!
Good night, everybody.
Get your hand off my penis!